Hello, I'm Tyler Burgess of Eugene, Oregon. Welcome to another program of Walk With Me. Today I am in Sicily, Italy. These are the Greek temple ruins of Segesta. One thing that comes to mind when I see these ruins is, how did they do this? These were built by the Greeks. They had no computers and they had no machines. Well, let me answer a few questions with my guidebook. Well, first of all, the Greek architect had a plan that he wrote out, how the blocks were to be cut, and then exactly where they were to go to make a temple. And then the workers, these people were slaves. What they did first of all was they had the supervisor, the architect here, telling them what to do, and they would cut, as you can see, they would cut a groove, and then into the groove they would pound wedges of wood, and eventually they would come off with these big blocks of stone, and then they could roll them on timbers. And this is how they would get them up to a temple, is on these, pulling them with men's legs where they're machines, and you can see the men over here, they were using a block and tackle system here. This block and tackle system here was created and discovered by Archimedes, the Greek mathematician, philosopher, and engineer, and he died in 2012 BC before Christ. The only difference between the block and tackle mechanism of the Greeks and of the crane you see today is these are powered by men's legs, and today they are powered by machines. And then the architect also had a model maker who could help him see what the design was like. These were different lifting methods of the stones onto a temple. So at one time these temples would have been filled with idols, and they would have been painted. This is a method they might have used to move a 10-ton or 6-ton block of stone. They could use oxen, they could roll them. Here's one of the methods they could use to lift these stone columns and the stone blocks. You have the block and tackle here, invented by Archimedes, and then the power would come from men walking inside this squirrel-like cage here. Now, some columns were actually carved right out of the ground like this, and then they'd be broken off and hauled away. And here is one of the old quarries that the stone was never hauled away from yet. Here are some of the tools that they invented and used. Archaeological finds from workshops. Here are the actual tools. And sometimes they use oxen as well as men for power. Here's a page from my sketchbook diary. This is the area around the temple. Imagine a Greek city here. This was a fortified wall at one time, and the balls you can see would have been used for catapults. There's a little snail in here that was used to produce a purple dye. And now we're walking into the Greek amphitheater. It's got a beautiful view, and just imagine a Greek play being held here and you were sitting in the audience. Let's take a peek into this door underneath the amphitheater. There's not really anything in here. It's just dark. This is the town of Tropony. What I'm going to show you is the working fisherman's wharf, and then a very nice walk along a Norman wall. I just love having all the time in the world to walk down the street and see how people live and where they live. Like it's clean the rug day. The Arabs were here for almost 200 years and they built many of these watchtowers along the coast. During World War II, many of these bunkers were built along the coast. At one time, they had a huge tuna fish industry here, and these are old tuna boats. And today I'm just taking a walk through a little village in Sicily. And I have taken it part of a day and driven over to this little town called Sperlingua. It was a town almost entirely of caves at one point, and now some of them are museums, but you can see people still live in some of these caves. These are caves with a false front on them. I also got to go over to the town in the hill country called Geraci and happened upon this medieval festival. Thank you for joining me, Tyler Burgess, on another program of Walk With Me. I give walking tours all over the world, and I have been doing research to see where I would like to bring people.